Quaid Muhammad Ali Jinnah was a great leader of the Muslims of the subcontinent, who led them to their most cherished goal of life, Pakistan on 14 August 1947. Quaid gave practical share to the ideology given and initiated by Allama Iqbal. The Quaid, by his dedicated and unflinching leadership, was at last successful in convincing the Hindus and the British of the reality of two-nation theory and the Pakistan ideology. The Quaid, after entering into politics, joined All India National Congress with a view of securing self-rule for India through constitutional means. For this objective, he advocated Hindu-Muslim unity. He was of the opinion that both Hindus and Muslims should launch joint effort to get rid of the British rule and domination. He did a lot of work to bring Hindus and Muslims closer. The Lucknow Pact between the Congress and the Muslim League was concluded mainly due to his sincere endeavors, for which he came to be known as the ambassador of Hindu-Muslim unity. After joining Muslim League in 1913, he continued with his efforts to bring about Hindu-Muslim unity. However, he was greatly disappointed to see the prejudicial and partisan attitude of the Congress and Hindus toward the Muslims. The publication of Nehru Report did the last damage. The recommendations of the Nehru Committee were based on prejudicial outlook of its members, who only tried to safeguard the interests of the Hindus and did not pay any heed to the Muslims' interest. The Quaid even tried his best to maintain the unity by offering to accept the Nehru Report with a few modifications. These changes were suggested in the All-Parties Conference convened by the Quaid in 1928 at Kolkata. But the Hindu leadership stubbornly turned down the sincere offer and dismayed Quaid. At last changed his views about Hindu-Muslim unity. In reply to the Nehru Report, the Quaid had to give his famous 14 points about the future constitution of India. The Quaid believed that Congress and Hindus will never acknowledge the rights of the Muslims and will do everything to deny a respectable place to the Muslims in the Indian society. He declared while representing the Muslims in the Second Round Table Conference in 1921, "We have reached at a juncture where I shall be neglecting my prime duties if I do not make the Muslim point of view known to this august audience. I wish to inform everyone openly that the Hindu and Muslim dispute must be settled before the enforcement of any system or constitution. Until you do not give guarantee for the safeguard of the Muslims' interest, operation any constitution you enforce shall not last for even 24 hours." Quaid was a firm advocate of two-nation theory and considered the Muslims as a separate nation. He said Pakistan was created the day first Indian nation entered the fold of Islam. The statement amply manifests the feelings of the Quaid about the separate national image of the Muslims. At the historic session of the Muslim League at Lahore on 23 March 1940, he said, "It has been taken for granted many mistakenly that the Muslims are a minority And of course, we got used to it for such a long time that these settled notions sometimes are difficult to remove. The Muslims are not a minority. Muslims are a nation by every definition. By all canons of international law, we are a nation. In 1942, he said, "We are a nation with our distinct culture and civilization, language and literature, art and architecture, names and nomenclature, sense of values and proportion, legal laws and moral codes, customs and calendars, history and tradition. In short, we have our own distinct outlook on life and of life." Quaid Azam further defined the two-nation theory and said, "The Muslims are a nation by every right to establish their separate homeland. They can adopt any means to promote and protect their economic, social, political, and cultural interests." In his presidential address at the annual session of Muslim League at Lahore in 1940, he said, "India is not a nation, nor a country. It is a subcontinent of nationalities, Hindus and Muslims being the two major nations. The Hindus and the Muslims belong to two different religious philosophies, social cultures, and literature. They neither intermarry nor interdine, and indeed they belong to two different civilizations, which are based mainly on conflicting ideas and conceptions. Their aspects on life and of life are different. It is quite clear that Hindus and Muslims derive their inspiration from different sources of history." On March 8, 1944, the Quaid-e-Azam said, "Hindus and Muslims, though living in the same town, villages, and neighborhood, had never been blended into one nation. They were always two separate entities." Quaid-e-Azam wanted to establish a democratic system in Pakistan based on Islamic principles, because he fervently believed that by this system only the people of Pakistan would be able to mold their lives according to the tenets of Islam. On 4 February 1942, he declared, "We should base our democracy on the principles and concepts of Islam." He wanted to see Pakistan as a country where every individual enjoyed equal rights and privileges. He said, "Islam teaches equality, justice, and fair play to everyone." Quaid-e-Azam emphasized on the Islamic ideology as being the basis of the struggle for Pakistan, because he believed that only Islam was the unifying force of the Muslim millet. He said, "What relationship unites the Muslims into one whole, which is the formidable rock on which the Muslim man edifies, has been erected, which is the sheet anchor, providing base to the Muslims millet. That relationship, the sheet anchor and the rock, is the Holy Quran." Addressing Eid Islamia College Peshawar in 1940, the Quaid-e-Azam declared, "We did not demand Pakistan simply to have a piece of land, but we wanted a laboratory where we could experiment on Islamic principles." On 18th June 1945, he said, "Pakistan does not mean freedom and independence only, but the Islamic ideology as well, which has to be preserved, which has come to us as precious gift, and which we hope others will share with us." Addressing the Karachi Bar Association on January 25, 1948, on the eve of Eid Miladun-Nabi, the Quaid-e-Azam said, "I cannot understand a section of people or deliberately want to create mischief and make propaganda, that the Constitution of Pakistan will not be made on the basis of Shariat. Islamic principles today are applicable to life as they were 1300 years ago. The statement amply proved that the Quaid wanted to establish an Islamic system in Pakistan. He desired to introduce Islam as a code of life because he believed that it was the sole objective of the Pakistan movement. Quaid was greatly in favor of the rights and interests of the minorities. He wanted to give full protection to all minorities living in Pakistan. Because Islam teaches liberal attitude towards other communities, the main objective of the Constitution of Pakistan as well was to give maximum protection to the minorities. In a press conference in New Delhi on 14 July 1947, he said, "Minorities to whichever community they may belong will be fully safeguarded, their religion or faith or belief will be secured. There will be no interference of any kind with their freedom of worship. They will have full protection with regard to their religion, their faith, their life and culture. They will be in all respects the citizens of Pakistan without any distinction of caste and creed." The Quaid desired to see Pakistan as a welfare state. He wanted to build up an economic system in Pakistan which was free of exploitation, and in which everyone had equal opportunity of economic progress and welfare. After partition, the Indian government refused to give Pakistan an equitable share in economic assets. The objective behind this denial was to cripple the economy of Pakistan immediately after its accession. Quaid at once took up the job of erecting economy on stable footings. He had correctly understood that Pakistan would not be able to overcome its economic problems by assisting of Reserve Bank of India alone. He therefore ordered that a State Bank of Pakistan be set up immediately. The Quaid was a staunch believer in the economic system of Islam. He believed in social justice and equality and desired to introduce the economic system based on Islamic principles. He said, "Islam teaches us equality and justice with every individual." He wanted to build up a social system in Pakistan based on Islamic principles, so that the people who gave sacrifices for the creation of Pakistan should be able to mold their lives and destinies according to the Islamic tenets. Quaid was extremely against provincialism after the creation of Pakistan. Attempts were made from certain quarters to misguide the people. Sentiments of provincialism and racialism were aired to create administration problems for Pakistan. Quaid quickly attended to this problem of provincialism and racialism effectively. He advised the people to beware of such ignoble designs of those elements who do not want to see Pakistan emerging as a reality. He addressed the nation and said, "In unity lies strength. So long as we are united, we emerge victorious and strong. If we are not united, we shall become weak and disgraced. We are all Pakistanis. None of us is a Punjabi, Sindhi, Balochi, Pathan or Bengali. Every one of us should think, feel and act as a Pakistani, and we should feel proud of being Pakistani alone." The Quaid was very much optimistic about the future of Pakistan. He said, "Pakistan has come into existence to stay forever. So we see the differences between the languages and regional people created a separate state of Bangladesh. So it is the biography of Quaid Azam.